Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Jason sent me a note about a story that does not surprise me in the least, but it is a bit annoying. Food delivery robots are being robbed in the U.S. And this is from interestingengineering.com, and Lucia Papadopoulos wrote this. Videos have surfaced of vandals kicking and forcefully opening the machines. So I've seen these things on television. I've never seen one in real life. But there are companies that have built these robots that are able to go from one place to another and deliver something and then return all on their own, which is pretty cool technology if you think about it. But the concern, of course, is as this thing is just wandering down the sidewalk by itself, what happens when the hoodlums see it? Okay? The teenage punks, for instance, see it. Or just somebody looks and goes, hey, that's just a thing. It's defenseless. I'll go kick it over. And there are people out there who actually, that's the thought process, is, oh, there's something that's defenseless. I'll go mess with it. So food delivery and grocery robots are an excellent way of getting meals delivered to customers efficiently and quickly. Many have ventured into the business, such as Estonian ride-hailing firm Bolt, that announced in June of this year that it will begin delivering food to people's doors in Tallinn using a fleet of autonomous robots. The development hailed from a partnership with robotics firm Starship Technologies, which in 2019 expanded its fleet of autonomous food delivery robots to colleges across the U.S. But the operations of these ventures come with complications, mainly that as of late, people in the U.S. have been vandalizing and robbing these machines, resulting in a potential loss of business for the companies that oversee the robots and forcing restaurants and grocery stores to replace their orders. Now, I could see how this could go badly if you allowed the robots to defend themselves. But I don't think you can do that, because that's one more step towards Skynet. Los Angeles news outlet KTLA5 reported earlier this month that viral videos have surfaced of people kicking and opening the robots to steal their packages or just to simply destroy them. Luckily for the establishments who supply the food, the robot company reimburses them, but it doesn't end well for the robot. We have to remake the food, but luckily we still get reimbursed for that, said general manager of Blue Jam Cafe in Hollywood, speaking to the TV station. I can see how delivery companies can be hurting from it, especially because it seems like the robots are pretty expensive, and I suspect they are. Meanwhile, Serve Robots, a company supplying the autonomous delivery vehicles in West Hollywood, told the news outlet that they still have a 99.9% rate of successful deliveries despite recent acts of vandalism. And the sad part is it only takes one act of vandalism, presumably, to disable or harm the robot. So you can have all the successful deliveries you want. If the robot has one bad delivery like this, that's ugly. So other companies, such as Starship Technologies, have enforced several protective measures to discourage and deal with vandalism and theft. And I'm sorry, every time I think of Starship Technologies, I think of we built this city on rock and roll. If someone tries to block the robots will attempt to maneuver around them or politely ask them to move. If the situation escalates, the robot is tampered with. The robots have loud sirens, and incidents then get reported. The robots are locked and have 12 cameras. So they're just letting you know that, by the way, if you beat the robot up, it's going to get your picture. And that picture will probably survive the beating. So although no reason has been given for the acts of violence committed against these small but helpful machines, it can be assumed that some people are angry about them taking jobs away from humans. I find that one hard to believe, because what are the odds that you're walking on the sidewalk going, man, I lost my job to a robot. Hey, here comes a robot now. I don't think people are actually thinking that deeply about it. I think they're going, hey, there's a machine that someone's put on the sidewalk and is zooming towards me at 1 mile an hour, and I can walk over and kick it over. Like, why didn't they think of that? And they walk over and kick it over. So machines are increasingly becoming more agile and efficient, taking away more and more positions previously occupied by humans. I mean, think about it. In Cool Hand Luke, those parking meters hadn't harmed Paul Newman as far as I know. This has caused some to worry about their source of income and their viability. Others may simply see a good opportunity to get a free meal. That is, if you can pry it open and get the meal out of it. Whatever the reasons for these attacks, it can be agreed that they are not warranted and should stop at all costs. Well, not at all costs, because that'll get us to Skynet. As next steps, it might be wise for authorities to place heavy fines and perhaps even jail time for tampering of the machines. This will likely deter future vandals and ensure the security of food delivery and grocery robots everywhere. Well, I assure you that right now, in most places, it is illegal to vandalize something you don't own. So if there are robots on the sidewalk, and it's legal for it to be there, which I presume it is, and you vandalize it, and you know that it's not your robot, you are vandalizing private property owned by somebody else. That is a crime. Now, some people are going to suggest, well, maybe we need to step that up and make a special law for the robots. That's probably not necessary. It's probably just necessary to enforce the laws that are on the books with respect to the people whose photographs are taken as they beat up the robot. And I'm looking forward to the first trial where somebody gets put on trial because they're going to take this thing to a jury. And they're going to claim either they didn't do it or it's bad identification or wrong place, wrong time or something. And the prosecution is going to go, okay, let's take a look at all the photographs this thing sent in the moments before it went dark. And it's going to be a bunch of photographs, framed right here with a person's face and their fist going like, or a tool going, and it's going to be kind of hard to say, okay, that guy right there, isn't that him in that picture beating up that robot? So that'll be a fun one because, look at all the crimes that get caught on surveillance cameras nowadays. And quite often they try to figure out where to put the camera. They go, okay, let's suppose I own a 7-Eleven. In case I get robbed, I'll put a camera right above the cash register. So someone walks into frame to rob the person behind the cash register, they get the whole thing on a camera. We've seen some of the cameras are badly placed. We got a great shot of the back of that guy's head. But here, there's 12 cameras on board the robot that you're beating up. It's going to get some good pictures of you. And hopefully it's uploading those to the cloud as fast as it can before it goes dark. So it's a crazy story, but it does not surprise me in the least. Because our society is made up of all manner of people. And there are people out there who will simply vandalize anything because they can. I can think of a variety of examples on this, but I'm not going to get too heavily into it. I think most people understand that this is true. So think about the people who, I'll give you an example from Los Angeles. Along Hollywood Boulevard and along Melrose, there are some murals on the sides of buildings that are beautiful. And shortly after the mural goes up, somebody comes by and sprays graffiti on it. So they come by and they repair the mural. And somebody comes by and sprays more graffiti on it. A defenseless wall. Now, again, naked gun, the wall could fight back, but in real life, the wall can't fight back. So it's sad. I tend to think these kinds of things are pretty cool, but I do worry more about the driverless cars in traffic. But a food delivery robot on the sidewalk, I got no problem with. So I think it's sad that people beat them up, but people will beat them up simply because that's what people do, sadly. So Jason sent that. Thanks a lot from interestingengineering.com, and Lucia Papadopoulos wrote that. Food delivery robots are being robbed in the U.S., and when not being robbed, just being beaten up. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. The things that come to those who wait are usually the things left by those who got there first.